people of the World Wide Web. So it's Cypher Sigma here, and yes, this is the collection in depth episode 44. So we are on the final bookcase of what is essentially the main series of movies of this collection. So we have, I think, 2 to 3 more episodes, depending on how much I squeeze into the last ones. And then that is the main log or body of my collection. Obviously, we do have anime to go to, and we do have animation downstairs. So it's, even though we're in 44, we're going to go into probably the 50s. If I can, hopefully, if I can squeeze this out to 55, it'd be good to have a full year's worth of videos. And then, I have thought about what I will do after this. So once this series is done, so once I show you all of my anime and all of my animation as well as loads, this series will be put to bed, so to speak. I may do it in a few more years time if I buy so much more and it changes so much more, I have a move around or something like that. But I don't initially plan to go back to it. I plan to leave that behind, and I want to kind of sort two. So I have 2 ideas. So what I'm going to do is kind of run 2 new ideas back to back, based on movies and stuff like this. One will be my thoughts on specific movies. One will be based around certain years and stuff. And we'll just see how they go. If one's more popular than the other, I want to kind of mix it up, and that there's only so much you can go for your collection. It does get a little boring. But anyway, you've come here to see my collection, so we're going to get into it now. So here we go into the final unit of the main collection. So we start with the Way Back. So this is quite an interesting movie, obviously about a journey about a group of men travelling a specific distance. A bit sad. I didn't find it too bad. The Way Back, kind of a troubled teen. Quite a good ensemble cast. I thought it was okay. The very great Nicolas Cage in The Weatherman. I really like this. Obviously, gets a lot of slack here when he's playing it, but obviously with the bow and arrow comes out on top. The Wedding Date, obviously around the era of when we had a lot of wedding movies. Obviously Deborah Messing from Will and Grace. I thought this was all right. The Wedding Planner, Matthew McConaughey, obviously when he was in his How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Fair. Never a big fan of J-Lo, but again, I remember it being alright. The Wedding Ringer. I actually really liked this. One of early Kevin Hart movies I actually really enjoyed. I thought it worked. Josh Gad and him worked really, really well with Kaylee Kutro from The Big Bang Theory. Then one of me and my wife's favourite movies, The Wedding Singer. Grow Old With You was the last song we listened to on our wedding day. So absolutely love this movie to death. The Wedding Video. My wife has seen this. I've not, as you see, labels are still on it, so I haven't seen it. I don't expect it to be much, but we shall see. Then we have The White Dragon, a martial art movie. He's blind, I believe. And it's Howland fighting some injustice, but I can't remember. It's been a long, long time. I think it comes out around House of Flying Daggers. So then obviously Matthew Perry, The Whole Nine Yards. And we watched this recently, me and my wife did. She didn't think much of it. I did quite enjoy it. And then obviously the sequel, The Whole 10 Yards. Obviously you got to sit down and watch that, rewatch it at some point. And then The Bees, The Wicker Man, everyone's seen the meme and stuff like this. I've never seen the original. I didn't mind this, but not the greatest one. The Wild, obviously, kind of the Zootopia, Madagascar theme, just different animals and different voices, was okay. Wind in the Willows, one of my wife likes the character of Toad and stuff like this, and we thought it was quite funny. Obviously John Cleese and a few of the Monty Python people in there, and Steve Coogan. Then you have the actual animated one. This is a great one to revisit. Really good animation for its day. And I believe the main character is voiced by David Jason. Toad. Then The Witches of Eastwick. Seen a long, long time ago. Oh no, actually I really did watch this. Not the biggest fan of it. Thought it was okay. Obviously Jack Nicholson moves in, he's kind of the devil. Then with The Wiz, so this is a different version of Wizard of Oz. Obviously, Michael Jackson there. I have watched this a few years ago. Thought it was okay. Much prefer the original. Obviously, here is the original. Haven't seen it in a long, long time. But I did watch it for the 50s movies. It was interesting what they actually did with the movie and how they did it. Return to the Oz. So this is kind of what I was brought up on. I think this was around my era. I don't know when this was released. Does it say? No, it doesn't. But yeah, with the wheelies and stuff like that, that's the one I always remember. And then we have Benito del Toro's The Wolfman. I didn't think much to this. Had a lot of promise and stuff. I do like. I think it's Guillermo del Toro direct this. No, but I didn't think too much. The Wolf of Wall Street. Obviously, everyone liked it. So I thought it was all right. Obviously, unfortunately, sometimes when people hype up a lot of stuff, it does put you off a little bit. The Woman in Black, didn't mind. Daniel Radcliffe in a little bit of a horror movie. Scary-ish kind of movie. Thought it was okay. Obviously a big fan of Lee Mack, so this is kind of a shorts TV series that he did, coming into his own. I do find he's kind of a Mr. Bean meets Lee Evans-ish. The Worst Week of My Life, never watched it. Big fan of Sarah Lancaster from obviously Coupling Days, so I want to watch at some point. The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke, a great movie. I really liked wrestling back in the day, and this very much brought the essence of that into this movie. I think it was very, very good. Then with the X-Files, Don't Stop Believing. Obviously, this is or is it Don't Stop Believing? That's the S Club 7. So yeah, this is special edition 1 of number 1. Can't remember it. It's been so long since I've seen the X-Files, and obviously the second one. I did like it back in the day. I remember Adrian Toomes, the guy who was green and slithered underneath the escalator. Things We Lost in the Fire. So I watched this near the end of last year or that. Very interesting film. Very not what you were expecting, but I enjoyed it. Think Like a Man. I don't recall seeing this, so I don't know. So I can't comment. Great one, 13 Ghosts. I believe they are turning this or the original into a TV series. But I quite like this. Obviously, Scooby-Doo, Matthew Lillard is the main guy in that. Then we have This Is England. I've never seen it. I know it got a lot of praise at the time, so I picked up a very cheap copy, but not got round to watching it. Obviously, This Is Spinal Tap was on my top 100 list. Did enjoy it for what it was. Not the greatest fan. Probably if I'd liked it back in the day, I would have been more of a fan. This Is Us, a great funny comedy with some, a load of comedians got together and obviously wrote this, and it's about the end of the day. It's very silly, but I enjoyed it. This Is Where I Leave You, it says hilarious, but it's kind of sad about a kind of family and a funeral and how they relate to each other. Didn't think much to it personally. This Means War, Reese Witherspoon being fought over by 2 spies. Yeah, not much to say about that. It was all right. Kelly Brook in 3. You obviously can see the 2 reasons why I picked this up. A great movie from when I was a child, like my mummy's. The Three Amigos, Martin Short, Steve, I can't even remember, isn't it? Steve Martin and Chevy Chase. There, Dusty Bottom, Needle Ned Letter, and I can't remember the Three Amigos. Great funny. Reminds me of my childhood. Free and Out. So this is Mackenzie Cook, who is a train driver who unfortunately has 2 people jump out in front of the train, and then one of their co-workers make it out that basically if he has a third one, then he gets free retirement, and obviously then a plot ensues. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Yeah, just didn't really go anywhere for me. I heard a lot of good things about this. I watched it. I wasn't too impressed personally. Special edition of Three Kings. Went to see this with my friends at the cinema. I thought this was quite a good action movie. obviously about gold being hidden. Saddam Hussein, I think it is. Then we had the very classics, Freeman and a Baby. Who cannot love this movie from back in the day? And obviously, you can only follow up with Freeman and a Little Lady. Again, a great follow-up. Always watched this as a kid. Always loved rewatching it. Then good old Matthew Perry, Free to Tango. I thought this was quite a good movie. Quite a good cast. Kind of a low-budget comedy, but I enjoyed it. Then Busted did the song for it. It is Thunderbirds, and Thunderbirds Are Go. I didn't think much to it watching it, but I did enjoy Thunderbirds as a kid, so good to have it. Then we go to Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme with Time Cop. Great movie. I think it was on a special set, that's why it's there. And then obviously the not as great Time Cop 2 with Jason Scott Lee. Moving to the second row, then Timeline, Paul Walker. Time traveling movie that he did outside of the Fast and Furious. I thought this was okay. Kind of does what it, students timeline, you get it. One of the comedies actually kept in the culling from last year, Tim Vine. I do find him quite funny, his puns. He's very hit and miss sometimes. Tin Cup, Kevin Costner, Rene Russo about golfing. I do like this kind of sport, triumph in and stuff like that. And I do like Kevin Costner. Tin Man, a series I bought, never seen. Obviously Zooey Deschanel and a few others. Then we have Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. I enjoyed this back in the day. Oh, that's the Cradle of Life. That's number 2, and this is number 1. Apologies, they are in the wrong order. How did that? I thought that was Gerard Butler on the back. Then we have Tomcats, Jerry O'Connell, kind of silly, romantic comedy, kind of. I do like Jerry O'Connell, like him from his Sliders days. That's why I bought this. The movie's all right. Tomorrowland, saw it at the cinema, thought it was okay. Got it to give it a second watch because I feel it did need it. I did like the cast. I think it has quite a good cast. It just didn't necessarily perform on day. Tooth Fairy, obviously The Rock, part of his 5 Disney movie deal. It's okay. Good old Top Gun. Who cannot love the need for speed? And then the only way to follow it up is with the even better, in my eyes, Maverick. Hopefully they don't do a third, or if they do, I hope it's as great as that one was. Then we have Talk, Matthew Henson, about bike riders, and obviously he has a jet engine bike near the end of it. Can't remember it too much, but he's kind of the Fast and Furious era. I got quite a few like biker boys and stuff. Total Bill Hicks. So my friends got me into Bill Hicks back in the day. I did quite like this stand-up. It's the only thing I really have of his, but I do enjoy it. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Total Recall, the original. Really good kind of special effects and stuff I thought was done on here. And then we have the not so great Total Recall. Second one, remake, redo, whatever you want to call, but it was alright. Ben Stiller returns in Tower Heists. Good cast members, just doesn't work for me. But hey ho, you can't win them all. Right. Big Jenna Elfman fan from Dharma and Greg. There she is, so I bought this. It's a very kind of silly movie. It was alright. Robin Williams in toys. Obviously, you can't beat a Robin Williams movie. I say no, it's not his greatest one, but I still do enjoy it. Trading Places. Good old Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. I think I haven't rewatched this in a long time, so it's definitely one to sit down. Training Day. Obviously, Denzel doesn't do a bad movie. Loads of people know about this. And then we obviously have Train Spotting from back in the day, Ewan McGregor and drugs in the UK. I remember them talking about Yoda, how he used to be 8 foot. Train to Busan. So a lot of people love this, and I kind of got in this on the back end. But to be honest, I wasn't the greatest fan of this movie. I know I'll probably get a lot of slack for that. Trainwreck, Amy Schmiller. Not her biggest fan, but I actually really liked this movie. I thought it was very silly and funny. and not taking anything seriously. Then we have Trance, a really bad Danny Boyle movie in my eyes. Just couldn't get on with it. Good cast, but yeah, suffering in some plays. And then the not so good Transcendence obviously proves that Johnny Depp can't always, you know, AI and stuff like this. But yeah, just fell a bit short from my eyes. Let me go into Transformers. So this is number 1, Steelbook. That's Matt V's movies. Got me. Then obviously we have Revenge of the Fallen, Dark Side of the Moon, which I still think was quite a good movie. Then it went on to The Last Knight. Obviously Mark Wahlberg taking over. It's not the greatest movies in Age of Extinction. Then comes Bumblebee, great movie, Haley Steinfeld, John Cena, and then the not so great Rise of the Beasts. Oh well. Then we have Transmorphers, and that's the back, I think, of the original Transformers box. So let's put that over there. Right. Then we have Transits, Jim Caviezel, a movie. Didn't mind it, not the greatest. Then we have Trauma, a great, me and my wife do love the medical rescue one. I bought this before I was with her. It was a great cast. It showed a really big promise, but just was never picked up after season 1, which was a shame. Then we have Tremors, Sealed. I've got to rewatch this, go back and watch all of it. As I said, love these movies. Then we have Tremors 4, obviously, so this is the prequel where you go back to. Then 5, when you introduce his son, Jamie Kennedy, and then obviously his son was in it again and then was absent. But unfortunately 7, which I don't have for some unexplained reason. Trespass, kind of a breaking and entering movie. Was alright. Tristan and Azul, however you pronounce that. It was okay, kind of run-of-the-mill movies if I remember it. Then we have the really good Tron. Then Tron Legacy, one I'm going to probably keep out to rewatch because obviously there is a third one being made. Then we have Troll Hunter, not a bad movie, kind of set in modern day with trolls, kind of found footage, so if you're not into that. Then we have the movie The Trolls. Me and my wife obviously like animated movies. We thought this was alright. I've not really watched anything else after that. The very great Tropic Thunder. I know you could never make it today, but I thought this was a really good movie. Doesn't take itself seriously. Trouble with the Curve. I'm not sure if I've seen this. I think I have, but I can't remember. And then finally, Troy, never seen. That's what the label's on it. And that is all for this episode. So there we are. Only 5 more shelves to go. And yes, that was week 44. Hope you enjoyed it. Obviously into the W's now, or T's, UVs. I think we're getting close to lows as obviously WXYZ. Hope you're enjoying these videos. I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Please like, comment, subscribe if you feel you want to. Otherwise, shall see you in the next one.